Welcome to the Mobile Hub tutorial. During this tutorial we're going to look at the basics of the reporting. The default reporting tools that you're presented with is a total report, a campaign report, a tracking report and a country report. As you can see here, let's start with a total report. Here you can select a preset range, today, yesterday, this week, last week, this month, last month, or a custom range. You can also change the granularity to by hour or by day, or if you're searching over a larger period, your granularity can be week, or even if you're going to go over a much larger period, you can then also have a granularity of month. So if we look at the total report, we're going to just look for yesterday. We're going to look at the total for all of our campaigns, every single country, and we're going to see a very simple graph which is going to show us our total. And also here in our table we have the date, we have the visits, the sales, we have no rebills here, we have the revenue, none of which of this revenue is rebills, we have a sales ratio and our eCPM. We can also export this basic information as a CSV if we so wish. So let's look at the next report. The next report is our campaign report. Again, you can choose a specific date range, and here is a list of all of our campaigns, and as you can see here we have 2 campaigns active at the moment, and this is the data for yesterday, and we can see in our table here that here is our active campaigns, the associated visits, sales, revenue, ratio and eCPM. And essentially we can also look at the next report, which is our tracking report. The tracking report is when we use the AndTrack equals function, and as you can see here we have 4 codes active in our tracking codes, and if we go down we can then see that these tracking codes here, and none of which have been used, but essentially this is the tracking code report. The next report is the country report. The country report is sorted by the amount of revenue that's generated, and also the goal here is for you to have a quick snapshot at your countries and the best eCPMs that you have. You can also sort this by different campaigns, and also by if you wanted to look at specific set of geos, and also again you have your date range, filters, etc. So these are the basic tools. So when you sign up for an account, you're presented with these basic tools. If you would like to see more information, if you would like to look at the next step, which is the more advanced tools, you need to contact your affiliate manager and he will add these tools on in a split second for you, just as I'm going to do now for this account. So now this account has had the extra tools added. So if I simply refresh the page, you will now see that we have the advanced report. So inside the advanced report we have a much larger variety of information. We have all of our filters available, and we have a lot more data that we can see. Some of the most crucial parts is essentially we have now a campaigns filter, a countries filter, our tracking codes filter and a products filter. So we can see which products are making us the most money, where, and of course why. So let's just take a look at yesterday's data in our advanced report. As we can see here, the same information is available, but what we're actually looking at here is we have an advanced tab. Here we can look at our network, our operating system and our handset statistics. So essentially, if I wanted to take a look in a specific campaign, I can actually go in and look and see exactly how our campaign is performing on a certain amount of criteria. So Denmark, let's have a look here. We've had 21 visits and a single sale, and we'd like to see where that sale came from. So first let's have a look at the network statistics. So here we can see that we had 7 carrier visits, we had 9 Wi-Fi visits and 5 that we couldn't recognize, and you can see here the percentages and splits. Our sale actually came from Wi-Fi, which is a nice thing to have, and you can see here that our sale was from 9 visits, and that gives us a pretty hefty eCPM of 14513. What we want to do now is, of course, have a little bit of a closer look to see where our carrier traffic came from. Is we click carriers, and we can now see that 4 clicks came from Telnor. We have 1 click from a network that isn't recognized. We have a Thalia click, and we have an unknown visit. The next thing we might like to have a look at is we want to see where that sale came from, which operating system. So we click on the operating system pop-up, and we now see that we have 6 desktop visits, we have some web browser visits, we have iOS 8, and that's where our sale was, and you can see the sale here. We have some IE visits, and we have free Android visits. So what we can do here is see exactly where the visit came from. So we know so far that we had a sale in Denmark, it was across Wi-Fi, it was using an iOS device, and the last one we can look at is a specific handset. So let's click on the handset icon. Obviously there's a lot more handsets out there than there is operating systems, so this is now building up a profile of that traffic to see exactly which devices those visits came in on. Now we have our pop-up open. We can see that we had 23% iPads, we had iPhone, iPods, generic Androids, web browsers, Google Chrome, and IE. So what we're looking for now is obviously where our sale came from, and we can see quite clearly here that from our 5 visits on an iPad we achieved 1 sale, and that's where our sale came from. So what we've been able to do there using the tools provided is simply say, okay, Denmark, 1 sale, where did that sale come from? We can see quite clearly that it came in on Wi-Fi, it was using an iOS device which was an iPad, so we know that in Denmark that pretty much we have a logical sale there for Denmark, Wi-Fi, iPad. This can be done on a whole group of data. So by simply going into, let's look at our total report. And scroll down, you can see that you can also see, for example, from all of the visits received yesterday, the percentage that was Wi-Fi. And we can see here that for this campaign on this particular account, that the vast majority, 95% of the traffic is Wi-Fi. You can obviously see at the same time, using the operating system, you can see that a massive amount of this traffic is also desktop, and that would obviously account for the large amount of Wi-Fi that we're seeing. So another thing that we can do here is we can look at the different options within the advanced report when it comes to exporting or getting quick access to data. So one tip here, when you want to use a CSV export, if you select a preset range, you have to run the report before you can export the CSV. So if I want to look at today, yesterday, this week, last month, this month, last month, in order for me to go down and access the CSV, I need to run the report in the website first. So the trick is, if you go to custom and you want to look at, let's say I want to look at today from, let's say, the last week, I can essentially, by selecting a custom range, I don't need to run the report. I can simply scroll down and export the CSV. And obviously by doing this, it shortcuts my need for looking into data. If I prefer to work with Excel and CSVs, this is the most logical format for me. So while the CSV is exporting, let's take a quick recap. So we have a total report. Total report is essentially all campaigns in a total, a much simple overview. We then have a campaign report, so you can start working more specifically with your campaigns. We also have a tracking report if you want to work more specifically with your filters. We have our advanced report, which is everything. And we have a country report which gives you a quick snapshot on the different countries. So within the advanced report, you can see pretty much every piece of data you need. And of course, if there's any areas of this tutorial that you feel you're missing or you don't have, and the main ones are going to be the advanced column here on the right and the advanced report tab here, please contact your affiliate manager and they'll be happy to add these tools on for you. If you need further detailed explanation or guidance on how these tools work or can be used to your advantage, please don't hesitate to contact your account manager.